Ethiopia, as we've tried to convey this week, is a country on the move. The locals, particularly here in Addis, talk about how these days the place is fizzing with energy. In contrast, the media scene can feel rather more leaden, even repressed. Free speech is enshrined in Ethiopia's constitution, but global press rankings year after year mark Ethiopia down near the bottom. Perhaps the most famous dissidents are a group of bloggers who call themselves Zone 9. They spent more than a year in jail until a court finally threw out the terrorism charges against them. Then, last Friday, 5 of the group were back in court as prosecutors appealed against their acquittal. Their case has been adjourned for another few weeks, and so after that court appearance, I met some of them, including 35-year-old IT consultant Befeqadu Hailu.
For 84 days, we were suffering in the infamous detention place Maakalawi. We had faced a lot of torture.
What in particular happened to you?
I was beaten on a cable on my barefoot. I was slapped a lot of times. I don't even remember the days on which I survived. I survived without having a daily slaps. It was like a dose.
You're smiling about it.
Yeah, I have to smile because, I have no other alternative to cover the memory of the pain that I suffered while I was in Maakalawi. It was a horrible time of my life, I can say.
Were you able to see a lawyer during your time?
After 20 plus days, we were allowed to see a lawyer, but in all of the 84 days, I personally met my lawyer only twice for 10 minutes each.
During that time, was there a moment when you thought to yourself, whatever I believe in, it's not worth this level of pain and being inside prison?
You may endure the beatings, but the insults and the names they give you, it humiliates you too much. So in Maakalawi, it's inevitable to think that whatever I'm doing is worthless, and it's common to think even, is there any way I can commit suicide? The thought of suicidal have come to each of my friends' mind while we were back in Maakalawi. So yes, I even promised to the interrogators that I will not write anything after my release. I thought I would not. Yeah, things change, when you start forgetting the pain.
There is a school of thought that actually, not just with you, but more broadly, because Ethiopia is seen as a haven of stability in a very unstable region, that foreign governments, major aid donors like the UK, like America, they go quite softly on the Ethiopian government, even though they're aware that when it comes to free speech, when it comes to democracy, things are quite badly lacking. Do you think that argument is correct?
Yeah, in the state of democracy and freedom of expression, the West generally is reluctant when it comes to the Ethiopian government. Ethiopia is relatively, not surely, but relatively stable in the East Africa. Plus, the war on terrorism, especially the war Ethiopia is doing with Al-Shabaab, has somehow gave the Ethiopian government bargaining power with the West. So if they cut off their aid in the name of lack of democracy in Ethiopia, Ethiopia will, I think, blackmail the West to cut off its war with Al-Shabaab.
So what would you like the West to do in that case?
I don't know. The West should always have an alternative. Democracy is a must. Otherwise, there is also a possibility Ethiopia will turn into a turmoil. Syria was a stable country 3 years ago.
Why do you stay in Ethiopia? You haven't been able to get your old job back. You're facing charges again. If you had a chance to leave, I guess you probably have difficulties leaving right now, but if you had a chance to leave, wouldn't you grab that opportunity with both hands?
Actually, no, and I've made my mind about staying here, no matter what. One of the reasons is that the very place that I fit in is here. The other reason is I believe that I'm in a struggle. I am challenging the organized system of governments whom I believe are criminals. I want to be part of history in changing that ugly fact.
That was Befeqadu Hailu, one of the Zone 9 bloggers in Ethiopia, talking there to Tim Franks in Addis.